Hey there, it's Karen here, and I'm coming to you today to give you 4 tips on how to eat more mindfully. This is part 2 of my 3-part series so that you can understand that if you are someone who does mindless eating, and let's face it, we all have done it from time to time. We've all sat, in front of the TV. Maybe we've been scrolling on your phone. That's another big one while you're eating. There is probably umpteen kinds of things. Maybe you've been to the movies and you've seen, you've eaten the whole bucket of popcorn and you actually didn't mean to. That's what we call mindless eating. And I want to give you 4 tips today on how to eat more mindfully. So the first one is you actually want to be more mindful of why you eat. So this is something that might seem strange, but so many people just eat because it's food, and not all food is good for you. And so you want to start to think of, start to raise your awareness around what kinds of things are triggering you to eat. Are you hungry? Are you stressed? Like emotional eating is a massive one, and stress can also be. There's usually two things that happen through stress. We either eat a lot or we don't eat at all. What if you're tired? I know if I'm tired, my tendency would be to reach for something that would be a little bit more unhealthy and trying to give me the energy. But here's probably one of the biggest ones of why we eat, and that's boredom. And I think, right now we find ourselves in this pandemic. And for people who are in lockdown or are working from home, we're so tempted because it's so easy to just open up the fridge and go to the fridge and eat. I work from home, so fortunately, I've been a little bit used to being around my fridge and food. But a client of mine, Haley, she's an absolute champion. You can check my stories out today. Actually, I've got a photo of her on there. She's lost 20 kilos this year. She did lose 36, and she went on a breast cancer journey. She is all good. She's fighting fit. She's an absolute powerhouse of a woman, and she gave me a tip. And this is actually not one of the 4 tips either, but she gave me a tip. So if you are someone who is working at home, why not set yourself a lunchbox, just like you would if you're going to work? Like, actually pack up things at the end of the day. If you've got kids off to school and you're making up their lunchbox, do exactly the same for yourself. It's amazing what will happen if you have your food planned out and that is all that you do. So, so a lot of people will eat when they're bored, a lot. And more often than not, if we're grazing all day, there's every chance that we're bored. We're a little bit hungry, but we're bored. So start to think of, why you're actually eating. Okay, the second thing is you want to be mindful of how much you eat. Okay, so, if you spend a week looking at why you eat, okay, and the times that you eat, what are those triggers? Spend a little bit of time on how much you eat. Because if you can start to have a look at how much you eat, you will probably find. So what you want to think of is, okay, when I'm eating, and if I've got a full plate, at what point am I full? Okay, at what point am I full? Because most of the time, by the time we finish our meal, we're actually over full. And so, because it takes about 20 minutes for your brain to register that the stomach is full. So, and I'm going to come on to my third point with that in just a minute. But start to think of how much you're eating. So, what do your snacks look like? And are they sufficient so that you don't overeat in your main meals? Major key. One of the things that I notice with my clients, and particularly, where I get to work really closely with them, is it's the snacking that gets them off track. So that's a major key. So have a look at how much you eat. Also, you can actually get plates that are designed. If you really struggle with this, you can get plates that are designed to actually portion it out for you on the plate. Okay, so there's a lot of ways you can do this, but I always just say to people, JCB, just cut back. Okay, so whatever it is, just cut it back, and if you can, eat off a smaller plate to start with, because when we have a big plate and it doesn't look like there's much on it, we tend to want to fill it up. So that's another tip. Okay, my third one. And this is probably the one that is the biggest problem for me, and that is being mindful of how fast and how quick you eat your food. So I tend to be someone who eats super quick. I shove it in. I don't chew enough. I'm not focusing in on chewing, eating the nutrition of the food. I'm not paying attention enough, and I eat really quickly. And, my sister always says, there must be fire coming off my fork. That's how fast I eat. It's ridiculous. And here's a trigger. Maybe you're the same. So if this is you, and I'm really going to try and be conscious of this tonight for myself. If this is you, you want to have a look at, does it take you 10 minutes to eat your meal? And if you are eating under 10 minutes, definitely have to slow down. Like, we really want it to take 20 minutes, right? So if you are someone who can get to 10 minutes, I don't even get to 10 minutes. I eat really quick. If you are someone who can get to 10 minutes, stretch it out to 20 minutes. How do we do that? Well, a number of ways. Have some water near you. Have some water in between. And I'm not saying every sip, but, savor the chewing. I know they say you're meant to chew 20 times, but hey, I've tried that and that seems like that goes forever. But here's the thing. If you are someone who bloats, slowing down your intake of food can actually help in that area. So 20 minutes to consume your main meal. Another tip is obviously the water, but put your utensils down. So if you're cutting or if you're just using a fork in your mouth, and then put it down. Actually release your hands and don't pick it up at all until you've finished chewing. So that's another point that can really help to slow things down. So I'll let you know how I go with that. But that is the one that is the biggest problem for me. And then the fourth tip is be mindful of how you eat. Now, what I mean by that is, where are you doing it? Like, if you're at work, are you someone who sits at the desk at work and eats and works at the same time? Are you someone who, picks things up on the go and does it and eats? Are you someone, now I reckon everyone has done this, and if you're not putting your hand up, I reckon you're a liar, but I reckon everybody has picked up something from the shop and eaten on the way home, whether it's something that's healthy, something that's bad, but you've picked up something from the shop, the bakery, or somewhere, and you've put it in your mouth as you're driving. That's another major key to think about, because if you want to start mindful eating, one of the major keys is eat only in one spot. So if that's at your kitchen table, you have your snacks there, you have your breakfast there. Obviously, if you're at work, you can't have lunch there. That's no problem. But pick a spot where that's the only place you eat, and I wouldn't make it your desk. Because what happens is, if you get stuck here, then you just we just keep eating, working, okay? You will continue to mindlessly eat. So if it means that you have to go to the staff room, go to the staff room. If it means you have to go sit at another desk, just make it somewhere where it's inconvenient for you to get away from what you're currently doing. And so if you're in the car driving, cut that out. That's not a place to be eating. If you're on the couch watching TV, not a place to be eating. Pick one place to eat, and if it helps, get your children to do it. Start your children doing exactly the same thing. They will get used to it. They will also only eat when they're at that spot. It will help them later on in life. So if you would like a copy of those 4 tips, I'm happy to share them with you. Just reach out to me. I'm more than happy to share that with you. And if you are really wanting to, spring into action, if you're someone who's like, I really want to get something started, I don't know where to go, I don't know what to do, feel free to, hit my link tree, the link below, go to that website. I've got a number of different things there that are available. We've got a 6-day challenge coming up. Last chance to enter our 6-week online transformation challenge. That closes tomorrow. So you would need to have all that information today. So if you are looking for any assistance in this area, or someone who is, I'd be more than happy to help you. Thank you so much for watching. This is part 2. Part 3 is coming your way, so stay tuned. Bye for now.